Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherrard Show. I'm your host, Sherrard. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very exciting show. We're going to be talking to a beautiful young lady all the way in Chicago. She is an actress, she's an author, she's a comedian. She will save the world, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so excited to have her first time on the show. The lovely Felice Tamara J. We'll be talking to her momentarily. But the Sherrard Show is brought to you by Pure Essence Television, where you can see this episode and so many more, such as The Temptations, The Supremes, coming soon, Billy Dean, Lionel Richie, as well as now trending Lana Rawls, and so many more. Just click the link right there on your monitor, and you can watch the greatest episodes of your life on the Pure Essence Television Network. And then it's also brought to you by iHeartRadio. If you missed this broadcast on television, you can also listen to it on iHeartRadio. Just click the link, smile, and drive. And then lastly, it's brought to you by my Rod Rods limited edition shoe collection. Look at your monitor. These shoes are handmade from Italy. And every time you purchase one, $1 goes to the fight for the cure for lupus. So support the cause today and buy a pair of great shoes. Ladies and gentlemen, this beautiful young lady is all the way from Chicago. She's been doing it for many, many years as an author, as an actress, as a writer. But if you look at her posts on Facebook, they'll make you smile and they will cheer you up if you're having a rough day. So the first time on the Sherrard Show, the lovely Felice Tamara J. Welcome, young lady. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You're so youthful. You look like you're not even out of your 20s. I mean, I'm just blown away at the youth of this young lady. She's so young, looking. It's amazing. Probably is. But Felice, tell us a little bit about your start. And you're a comedian. I know living in Chicago, you have a lot to laugh about. But tell us a little bit about your start.
Well, originally me starting out within my career, I started out by watching Carol Burnett growing up as a kid. So my inspiration and my motivation to become an actress, to come into comedy and all of that actually sparked from watching Carol Burnett as a child.
You know, it's
Yeah.
amazing that you say that because Carol Burnett used to come on Channel 9, and it was a cartoon part where she would be doing the broom, and I used to love that.
Wrong.
And before there was In Living Color, there was Carol Burnett show, and it was an
Yes, it
absolute
was.
hilarious show. So it was Harvey Korman and Tim
Mhm.
Conway and Vicki
Tim
Lawrence
Conway.
and all
Vicki
these
Lou.
incredible people. So what was the thing that got you the most? Was it the humor of Carol Burnett, Vicki Lawrence, or all of them?
Well, it was all of them all together, but I just was so inspired by her playing not only just herself but multiple characters, and that sparked me to always want to have my own one woman show. So until this day, at the age of 52, which I am,
You mean
I
around 25, right?
now I'm 52.
Wow, wow, amazing, amazing. What people are going to be
Yeah.
asking me, so what is in the water in Chicago?
I wouldn't say it's nothing in the water. I would just say it's by God's grace. It's a blessing from God. No,
Yeah.
and of course, taking care of myself. But yeah.
Very good. Now, everybody's a comedian, and everybody, and like when I was growing up, we were in a family of people just love laughing. People always
Hmm.
cracking jokes. You always had an uncle that was doing something silly, brothers and all this stuff. Did you grow up in a family like that as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. I had an uncle, and to this day, I call him my Uncle Daddy because he pretty much was like my uncle and father that raised me. And he is absolutely hilarious. His name, we call him Uncle Tyrone, but he called himself Pretty T. That's his name, Pretty T. So yeah. So he was like the comedian in the family. I had my aunt, may she rest in peace. She was very hilarious, and I had a lot of other uncles that were pretty much hilarious, and cousins. So we were always comedic as a family. Yeah.
When you look at like the comedians like Bernie Mac and Michael Collier and Chris Tucker, so many of these hilarious comedians that have you crying, laughing. Then some of the female comedians that are absolutely hilarious as well. Is that something you've done in your life doing stand up?
Well, I just recently started doing stand up in 2022. Actually, I started in 2022, but growing up, opposed to me watching Cara Burnett, I remember watching Richard Pryor. Not supposed to, but live on Sunset Strip, Here and Now. And then what really inspired me to really want to get into comedy after Carol Burnett. Of course, it was in Living Color, but when I saw Eddie Murphy doing Raw and Delirious, I was like, that's my calling. And then when he did Nutty Professor, playing all these multiple characters, that is something that I do right now. And that's what actually makes me want to do comedy even more. But watching them, absolutely.
You know, I
Yeah.
almost had to go to the hospital when I was watching Nutty Professor, especially the part where he was with Jada Pinkett and he knew that Dave Chappelle was gonna be ripping on him. So they caught
Yeah.
him all bent over, and Dave Chappelle said, "Oh, now we know where they hit Jimmy Hoffa." I mean, I had to. That was too much. Because that reminded me of my days in school. Now, were you that one that got people kicked out of school, kicked out of class because you made them laugh?
No, I got kicked out. So I was a class clown. Absolutely. I always sat in the back of the room making these funny noises. I would always crack jokes, but I was good in my books. But I always got sent to detention for doing crazy stuff in the classroom. So yeah, I was one of those.
Now that brings us to the point of your post. Look at your monitor. These are some of the most hilarious posts
My teacher kept saying
that you
I was
put.
going to
Now,
fail my spelling
are
test.
these
Why
based
would she
upon
say that?
typically when
Because
you
she said
post
I
these
don't pay
things on
attention in
Facebook?
class.
They're
Well, pay attention
based
in
upon
class. I do pay attention.
observations,
Matter of
life
fact, I said to
experiences,
myself,
or a
I'm going
little
to
bit of
prove her
both?
wrong.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now you know you said you started your comedy career in 2022. You said
Well, doing stand up. Yeah,
okay.
I started stand up in 2022, but I've always been very comedic growing up as a child. Yeah, so throughout my whole life, I've always been funny or, been the one in the family that's very entertaining. You always had that kid, you had that, come on, do Michael Jackson, do that dance, do that. That was me. I was always the one that was in the middle of the carpet in the living room, and my mom and aunts always pointing me out to do something. So yeah, I was that person.
You know, it take you to travel around the world, like I've traveled around the world many times. And, you know, when you come to Chicago, I actually did comedy in Chicago as well. What was it, All Jokes Aside? And then it was another place downtown. But, you know,
Mhm.
you have to bring it. If you're not funny in Chicago, they will let you know.
Oh, they will.
So
It,
what was it like for you the day that you went to, I guess, amateur night or whatever, and you were the next person up? What was it like? Do you remember the first joke you cracked?
well, I pretty much don't necessarily crack jokes. I'm a storyteller. So I got that from watching Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. And those were like my ultimate two favorite stand-up comedians growing up as a child because they told stories. Like I remember the story where Richard Pryor talked about Mudball and how not Jimmy Fox, but Eddie Murphy talked about the auntie with the mustache and all of that. So then we go into Kevin Hart, how he talked about his kids, his dad, and everything. So I look at my stand up as telling a story. So I don't necessarily just crack jokes. Everything has meaning to it, and it comes from my life or life experiences. So yeah.
You know, it's funny. I don't, when I did stand up, you know, I didn't need to crack jokes. I mean, just talk about my family or just talk about stuff
Yeah,
that happened in church.
basically.
I mean,
Yeah.
church folk, that's material enough for 2 years just to talk about the way church folk act, and then your family and things like that. Now, are you still doing stand up?
Yes, I actually have a show coming up that I have a spot where I will be working with Cherie Luckett. She's celebrating her birthday this Saturday, and she's having a show at the Privilege. I think I'm saying that right. It's the Privilege on the south side of Chicago. So I will be performing this Saturday. So yeah.
You still get nervous when you're about to go up?
What? Absolutely. To the point where I feel like I'd be one. It be that bad. But it's like once you hit the stage, they call your name, you on the stage, the jitters are there, but once that mic is in your hand and you get to talking and get that first reaction from the audience, everything is like smooth sailing from there.
You know, I
Yeah.
think comedy is an art, and you know, some people are funny and don't know it. Some people just as soon
Mhm.
as they get up there, you're ready to laugh. And some
Yeah.
people just know how to deliver. You know, Richard Pryor knew how to deliver. Eddie Murphy really knew how to deliver. One of my favorite comedians is Robin Harris. You know, he was one of
Yes.
he's from Chicago, one of the
Hmm.
absolute funniest guys. He looked funny, but he knew how to deliver as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on Robert Harris, I actually was a really big fan of his, but he wasn't like one of my favorites. I enjoyed him in House Party. That's when I found him the funniest, but I'm not, you know how people would just tattletale. I've never really paid attention to his stand-up. I didn't, but I did watch him in House Party, and I thought that he was absolutely hilarious from there. Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing is that some people can be funny as stand-up and not funny as a sitcom, or vice versa. Some people can be funny in a sitcom and not funny
Yeah.
in stand-up.
Yeah.
You know,
Stand-up.
one of my favorites is Red Fox, but I like Red Fox more in Sanford and Son than I
Sanford
do.
and Son. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I wouldn't say that Fred Red Fox was not a good stand-up comedian because he was awesome, but he was so much funnier as an actor, a comedic actor in Sanford and Son. Yeah.
Very much so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have more with the lovely Felice Tamara J. First time on the Sherrod Show. We'll be right back, right after this, ladies and gentlemen. And
Here's an important message from the US Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the US Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. US Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. US Med. Better service. Better care.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherrod Show. I'm your host, Sherrod, for our Wednesday conversation with the lovely Felice Tamara J. My mistake, even more beautiful
Okay.
Tamara. You know, it's amazing to me, Felice, when you look at the people who've come from Chicago and where Chicago is now in terms of films, in terms of comedy, and so many other things. You know, when I grew up, all the films and movies were out here in Hollywood, or there was
Hmm.
some in New York. But now Chicago and Atlanta are considered meccas.
Yes. So Atlanta is pretty much known as, I would say, Black Hollywood. It really is. So is Chicago. It's a lot of great projects and a lot of upcoming filmmakers, writers, directors, actors, actresses that are here in Chicago. But a lot of them they're navigating to Atlanta. A lot of people are moving to Atlanta as well as I want to move to Atlanta. But yeah, it's very talented here in Chicago. It is.
So, where are you looking to take your career from here on out? I know you're mentioning a one-woman show, but what else are you looking to do? Films, movies, sitcoms?
Well, I actually have 6 films that I've already written, direct, produced myself. And I'm in the process right now of trying to get all my movies on Tubi. So that's my next step. So I am more of my genre of writing. I am a big fan of like suspense thrillers and horror movies. You know, a lot of people would look at you like a female. Yes, I blame my mom. May she rest in peace. I grew up watching horror films with my mom. So, you know, I got traumatized as a child. So, didn't have any other choice. But then I fell in love with the genre itself. So, I enjoy writing suspense thrillers and horror films and stuff like that. So, that's what I mainly write. I just have one like crime drama film that I wrote called Revenge Serve Code, but everything else is suspense thrillers and horror. Yeah.
So now when you talk about, and I'm a huge fan of horror films as well, but what sticks out in your mind? What's one of your favorites?
Like, well, my all-time favorite horror movie is The Exorcist. I am, yeah, and a lot of people find it awkward. So I believe in God, absolutely, but I don't know. I'm just obsessed with the supernatural, paranormal, and the angels and demons type. So that is the only movie aside of Exorcism of Emily Rose that really scared me. But when it comes to like slasher films, I was a big fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, but the first one was the only good one to me. You come through the point of like the Jasons and the Halloweens, but more than anything, I love movies that deals more with demons and paranormal things like
Now
that.
that gets really creepy. When it gets to the paranormal, that's not that weeds out the chickens from the clucking chickens because that's the
Yes,
serious thing right there. I remember
yes.
when I first watched the first Paranormal Activity one, and it was quite creepy. That can test the threshold of any horror film fan.
Yes, Blair Witch Project. That kind of creeped me out as well. That
Especially at
did.
the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a couple films that you have that you said are horror films as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Let, let-
So, well, I have Lights Out, Get It Out of Me, Game Night, and Straight Jacket. I have those four. And then my other movie, Revenge Serve Code, and I'm working on Revenge Serve Code Part 2. So yeah,
Very good. You're
everything
you're
that I said.
You're a busy 29-year-old lady. My goodness, you always doing things in terms of that. So now what kind of advice would you give young people out there who are watching and want to do what you do, but they maybe want to, they're dealing with a lot of rejection, they're dealing with a lot of ups and downs and things like that, and they want to give up. What kind of advice would you give?
My advice to anyone that's starting out is just to keep going. You'll get a thousand no's before you get that one yes. And just don't ever let that discourage you because if you willing to give up so easy, there's no use to keep going because you just have to stay consistent. Consistent. That's just like back in the day, whoever invented the first car. The first car that they built didn't turn out right. They had it's like revisions over and over, enhancing and rebuilding it. Just keep going, no matter what. Stay consistent. Like I tell people this every day. The energy that you put into getting up with your alarm clock going off, going to punch somebody else's clock, and you can get up and work for someone else, you put that same energy times 10 into working for yourself on your own craft. So I tell people that all the time.
Very good, very good. Well, let's get to your book before we get to the questions from the audience. You have written a book. She's an accomplished author. Let's talk about your book. What's the name of it?
Okay, the name of my book is called Fatal Fantasies. I actually have uh two books. So the first book I am looking to publish again. This is actually the second one. I was still trying to get my rights from the publisher and I just recently finally got them. But my book is based on love, sex, and murder. So it's an erotic thriller. So if you're a big fan of like Zane or E.L. James, like 50 Shades of Grey, it's erotica and it's a suspense thriller as well. So yeah,
You're a pretty
pretty
extreme young
hot and
lady.
heavy.
You're pretty, yeah, I
I
can tell. Well, now, for my horny audience members, where can they purchase a copy?
You can purchase a copy on Amazon, Lulu Press, or for me.
Very
Yeah,
good.
but a lot more people feel a lot more confident getting it from Amazon, so you could get it from Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, she's gonna provide her email address to be on your monitor momentarily. But let's take some of the questions from the audience. We have quite a few questions, but we only have time for three. Can you handle three questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So this first one is from Mark. This is from Mark. He is from, oh, wow, he's from Macon, Georgia. He's saying, wow, she's such a beautiful young lady. She said she's 52. That's right. I don't believe she's 52. But his
Yeah.
question is, have you been in any Tyler Perry films or are you interested in being in any Tyler Perry films?
Well, I haven't, and that is something that I manifest every single day. Yes, I would love, 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 love to work with Tyler Perry. Absolutely.
Okay, very
That
good.
is
Yeah,
one of my dreams.
I can definitely see you in one of those. We really appreciate that, Mark. This one is from Keisha. This is from Keisha. She is all the way from Southern California here in Los Angeles. He's saying great fun. It seems like this young lady has so much going on for her. Her question is, where can we see some of your films and work?
Well, right now, if you follow my YouTube channel, which is Felice Tamar J, I have my trailers, one of my latest films, Game Night, is up there. My other movie, Get It Out of Me, is up there. So that's only for a limited time. I just dropped them on there until I'm done submitting all my information to Tubi. But you can find a lot of my content on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, now these are feature films or short films?
They're short films. I
Uh-huh.
have one feature film that is on Amazon Prime right now. It's called I'm Coming for You. So that is a suspense thriller.
Okay, very good. All right, now this last one is from Lamisha. She's from Leisha. She's from Country Club Hills, Illinois. She's saying, great job on the interview, Sherrod. Her question is for you, Tamara. Do you have a role for Sherrod in one of your films? How do you know I act?
I mean, like, if you want to, come on, we can get that cracking. Anything is possible. Anything is
Okay,
possible.
very good. I appreciate that. Now, one more time, where can people purchase your book tomorrow?
They can purchase my book from Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com. The name of it is Fatal Fantasies. And if you want to type that in or either type in my name, Felice Tamara J.
Now, are you going on tour for your comedy? Are you going to be coming out in the Los Angeles area, anywhere, thing like that?
Well, I plan to. Like in 2022, I did a lot of traveling. I was in Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlanta, Paducah, Kentucky. I was in Tennessee. So I was like venturing out and doing stand up at a lot of comedy clubs. So I did the Laugh Factory here. I haven't pretty much done anything really here but at Riddles and the Laugh Factory, but I like traveling. You know, I like traveling. I like doing comedy in other cities. So yeah.
Very good. Now tell us something that a story that can have my audience thinking or laughing. If you have a really quick 30-second story you want to tell us.
30-second story that I can tell you guys real quick that I'm doing my stand-up is that when I grew up and I found out that my grandmother lied about Jesus, she told us, of course, the body of Christ through communion, when you take the blah, blah, blah. So on the first Sunday, I saw everybody run down to the basement and they was getting it ready. So I went downstairs to see what my grandmother doing and I saw them in the kitchen and I was crying because I thought they had Jesus in the back and they was going to kill him and slice his meat off and drain his blood and have us to eat his flesh and drink it. And I was down there and I was pointing at my grandma and the other ladies in the kitchen. I was about 8 years old and I was like, you murderers, you got Jesus in the back. Y'all killing Jesus. Y'all killed Jesus. Bad. I got a whooping. My grandma made me go back upstairs, but yeah, I thought they had Jesus in captive in the church and held him down there for every first Sunday to drain
That's
his blood,
traumatizing.
get his flesh, and had us to drink it.
That's traumatizing. Wow. We really appreciate you sharing that story. And Felice, we thank you so much for stopping by on the Sherrod Show. Hold up your book one more time so the audience can be able to know where to purchase your book. Maybe make sure you grab a copy of that. You may be able to actually get an autograph copy from her as well. And then you can purchase it at Amazon. And any final thoughts, Felice?
Like I said, my final thought that I can give everybody is, like I said before, stay consistent. Don't ever put age, time, or anything on your dreams. Consistent. Long as you got air in your lungs, you got every day you wake up, that's another day to pursue your dreams. Just keep going and going and going. That's all I tell people every day. Because a lot of stars didn't make it until they were in their 40s or 50s. You may have seen them in movies, but they didn't get their big break until they got a lot older. So just keep going. Yeah.
We really appreciate that, man. Your new nickname is Fountain of Youth because she still looks like a kid in the face. We thank you so much, Felice, for stopping by on the Sherrod Show. Stay tuned on our next episode of the show where we have the legendary Billy D. Williams stopping by the show to talk about his new book as well. And then also we have a few boxing legends coming up. We're so excited. Wonderful year upcoming for the Sherrod Show. Make sure you follow us on the Pure Essence Television Network, Facebook, as well as sub up on the Pure Essence Television Network on YouTube. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to soar with the Eagles, stop hanging around turkeys. See you next time. Bye now.
Later.